Before the first light was named, before the first machine dreamed of war, there was a silence. A silence so deep that it split the heavens like a scar waiting to bleed. They called it the rift, a wound between realities. No one knows what opened it. Only that through its light came the power to reshape entire worlds, or burn them to ash. But before the wars and the legends, before the heroes and betrayals, there was one man, a soldier exiled by his own kind. A name whispered in fear and reverence, Kael Draven. This is his beginning. This is how the first Rift Warrior was born. Every legend starts with a mistake the world tries to forget. And Earth, our Earth, was about to make its last. The year was 2479. Earth had become a crown of glass and fire, towers piercing clouds, oceans of metal and light. War was a commodity, peace was a myth told in corporate advertisements. The world's governments had merged into one, the Consortium, a machine that fed on progress and fear. Under its rule, humans were measured not by their souls but by their utility. And somewhere within that cold mechanical heart worked Kael Draven. Once a soldier, now a ghost in their security ranks. He was known for his disobedience, for refusing to execute an order that would have wiped out innocents during the Mars riots. "Commander, over radio," echoed Draven. "Execute protocol read now." Young Kael, tense. "There are children in that sector." "Commander, you question orders, soldier." "Kael, I question massacre." That single refusal cost him his career, his status, and his faith in humanity. He was labeled a liability, exiled to the outer sectors, industrial wastelands where the sky bled smog and the poor fed on machine dust. Yet even in the darkest corners of the world, whispers traveled. Talk of strange anomalies, lights that burned in midair, shadows that moved without bodies. They called them rifts. Scientists claimed they were tears in quantum space, brief windows into other dimensions opened by uncontrolled experiments from the Consortium's research division. But those who saw them knew better. They spoke of voices whispering through the light, of visions that drove men mad or changed them forever. Kael heard those stories in the bars and backstreets of Sector 9. He did not believe them. Not yet. Each night he walked the industrial ridge, watching the lights of the city glow like a dying star. He wondered if there was still something worth saving, some truth beyond the machines and lies. Then, one night, the sky answered. A light split the clouds like a blade of white fire. Every screen in the sector flickered to black. The ground shook. The air tasted of ozone and fear, and in that moment, Kael Draven looked up and saw the impossible. A rift the size of a city, tearing open the sky like a wound that bled light. That night would be remembered as the first tear. And it would change everything. Kael Draven didn't sleep the night the sky opened. No one did. For hours the air glowed like molten glass, and from that light came a sound, low, steady, almost alive. By dawn the glow was gone, but the world had changed. Energy readings spiked, magnetic storms crippled satellites, and the Consortium sealed the entire sector. They called it a containment breach. To Kael, it felt like the planet itself had inhaled and forgotten how to breathe. The patrol drones rolled in. He watched them sweep the streets, scanning for bioanomalies. Every human they touched fell silent, motionless, then vanished in a flash of blue. Citizen, pleading, distant pleas, don't. Kael had seen death, but never erasure. He turned away, gripping the dog tag that still hung from his neck, one relic of a soldier he swore never to be again. Yet the air kept whispering his name. Not from his memories, from the direction of the rift. That evening, he left the sector walls. The wastelands beyond stretched endless, burned red by chemical dust. There, on the horizon, a shimmer pulsed in time with his heartbeat. "Kael, softly if you're real, show me," and the rift answered, not with light, but with silence so complete it bent sound itself. For the first time since the wars, Kael felt small. And afraid. The ground cracked. Rivers of white fire ran through the soil. Kael fell to his knees as gravity itself twisted. Out of the light stepped shapes, tall, thin, armored in living metal. Eyes like burning mirrors. Not machines. Not human. Something between. They moved without sound, scanning the air as if searching for the one who called them. When they turned toward Kael, instinct returned faster than fear. He drew the sidearm he swore he'd never use again. The shot dissolved in the air before it reached them. One creature lifted its hand, and reality folded around him. He saw flashes, cities burning, oceans inverted, countless worlds consumed by the same light that now held him captive. And a voice inside his mind spoke. Voice, ethereal, layered, you are of the breach. Chosen not by fate, but by consequence. Kael, strained, what are you? Voice, we are the architects. We mend what your kind has torn. Kael, then why destroy us? Voice, because you touched the core and called it progress. Pain flooded every cell of his body. He felt his mind stretch across time itself, seeing every battle, every lie that led humanity here. Then, through the agony, he saw another image, a figure wreathed in light, standing against the architects, blade raised, holding the breach closed with his own will. A warrior. The rift's defender. Voice, one must bear the fracture. One must become the seal. The light consumed him. Every memory burned away until only purpose remained. When Kael awoke, the wasteland was gone. He stood in a crater of fused glass, armor of black steel fused to his skin, lines of blue energy pulsing beneath. In his hand, where the pistol once was, burned a weapon of light. Kael, hoarse whisper, what did you make me? Voice, fading, the first Rift Warrior. Above him, the rift still hung open, alive and hungry. And from within its glow, new shapes began to emerge. Kael Draven, outcast, soldier, sinner, had become Earth's only chance to fight what it had summoned, and the war for reality had just begun. Kael Draven stood in silence, staring at the weapon pulsing in his hand, not forged, but alive. It moved like liquid fire, reshaping with each breath he took. The armor that clung to him wasn't metal at all, it breathed, flexed, almost responding to thought. Each pulse synced perfectly with his heartbeat. He looked up. The rift above still churned, spilling violet storms across the sky. The horizon glowed like dawn, though the sun had not risen. Then came the pain again, sharp, precise, like 1,000 whispers carving into his bones. Voice, faint, echoing, the bearer learns through fracture. Visions flooded his mind. He saw entire architect fleets descending on ruined worlds, harvesting energy from the core of dying suns. He saw human experiments, secret projects that ripped open reality itself in search of infinite power. And within it all, he saw himself, a weapon neither side fully controlled. Kael's eyes ignited with a pale blue glow. His heartbeat steadied. The fear that once ruled him dissolved, replaced by something colder, resolve. Kael, quietly. If this is what I've become, then I'll make it mean something. The armor shifted, sealing tighter across his chest. His body, half human, half anomaly, had found its purpose. Haven 9 was once the largest defense city left on Earth, a fortress of steel, orbit cannons, and fading hope. Now it was burning. Architect drones poured from the sky, slicing through defenses like paper. Every blast tore open new fractures in the air, tiny rifts feeding the greater one above. Commander, radio, frantic. We've lost sectors 3 through 9. All shields down. Where's Draven? Where the hell is Draven? They didn't know. Kael was already in the storm. He soared through the smoke, armor adjusting mid-flight. Every movement left trails of blue fire, like comets slicing through the battlefield. Soldier, over comms. Is that one of ours? No one answered. Kael didn't fight like a man anymore, he fought like the rift itself. He cut through wave after wave, each strike collapsing drones into light. But the architects adapted fast. Their forms shifted, mirroring his attacks, studying him. One of them, taller, faster, caught his strike mid-swing and threw him through a steel tower. Kael, gasping. Not done yet. He pushed himself up, armor cracking and reforming in seconds. From the debris, he leapt again, straight into the heart of their ranks. Haven 9 soldiers watched in awe as blue lightning carved the sky. For a moment, they believed again. But victory has a cost. The rift above pulsed violently. Every drone he destroyed fed energy back into it. Each explosion widened the breach, and from within the storm, something colossal stirred. The sky split open. From the rift descended a creature larger than the city itself. A being made of swirling geometry and living plasma. The architect Titan. Kael hovered in the air, staring into the storm of light. Even with all his new power, this was beyond imagination. Kael, to himself. So this is the heart of it. Voice, Architect Titan, deep layered tone. Mortal vessel. The seal is imperfect. You are not enough. The Titan raised its arm, the sky bent with it. Lightning struck in all directions, vaporizing towers in an instant. Kael countered with pure instinct. He focused, and his weapon reshaped into a massive spear of energy. He hurled it into the creature's chest. The impact shook the heavens, yet the Titan barely flinched. Then came the feedback. Energy backlash tore through Kael's body, slamming him into the ground. His vision flickered, static, pain, then darkness. In that void, he saw something new. Not destruction, but a memory. Kael stood in a field, green, quiet, untouched by war. A woman's voice whispered his name. Voice, soft, human. Kael, remember who you were, his mother. A memory long buried under steel and regret. Voice. You were never meant to fight their war. But maybe, you were meant to end it. Her hand touched his face, and the light from her palm surged into his chest. He gasped, then the vision shattered like glass. He awoke midair, body aflame with power. The Titan loomed above, preparing its final strike. Kael raised his hands. The armor blazed white, brighter than the sun. Kael, shouting. This world is not yours to claim. He became light itself, his body dissolving into pure energy. The rift shrieked, collapsing inward. The Titan screamed as it was dragged back into its own dimension, and when the light faded, Haven 9 was silent. The sky was clear. The rift was gone, but Kael Draven was nowhere to be found. Voice, one must bear the fracture. And somewhere, across the vast void, a new rift began to stir. The war was over. But victory never sounds like triumph, it sounds like silence. Haven 9 lay in ruins. Towers that once touched the clouds now stood as twisted skeletons against the red dawn. The survivors moved through the smoke, searching for signs of life, or of him. Commander, through static. Search teams report negative on thermal readings. Draven's armor signature, it's gone. For a moment, humanity allowed itself to breathe. The rift had vanished, but not without leaving scars. In the crater where Kael made his final stand, the ground shimmered faintly. Not with fire, with light. The same energy that destroyed, was healing. A child wandered close, drawn by its glow. Child, whispering. It's warm. And just like that, the ashes stirred. Weeks passed. The world began rebuilding what was left, the wreckage, the systems, the belief that maybe humanity still had a future. But across every surviving city, strange events began to surface, machines behaving on their own. Dreams shared between strangers. And at the edge of each storm, a faint blue glow, they called it the Draven effect. Scientists claimed it was residual radiation. But some believed it was something else. Veteran, voice, weary. I saw him. Not a ghost, not a dream. He stood on the ridge beyond the ruins. The light, it was alive around him, rumors spread. A new kind of energy, not human, not architect, was awakening. And those touched by it, began to change. They were faster. Stronger. Connected. As if Kael's sacrifice had imprinted something within the human race itself. Some called it evolution. Others called it infection. But one thing was certain, the age of ordinary humans was ending. In a storm far from any city, a small research vessel tracked an anomaly. Coordinates, the center of the former rift zone. Energy spikes off the charts. Scientist, nervous. Wait, the readings just doubled. Something's coming through. The sea below them began to boil. A pillar of light shot skyward, piercing the clouds. And from within the light, a silhouette appeared. Humanoid. Armored. Alive. The man stepped onto the deck, eyes glowing blue, armor flickering like lightning beneath the skin. No words. Just a steady, quiet breath. Crewmember, in awe. Sir, who are you? Kael, softly. Something, between what I was and what I need to be. He looked toward the horizon, where thunder rolled in endless rhythm. Kael, low voice. They'll come again. And next time, they won't face one warrior. The architect's dimension was not destroyed, merely delayed. Beyond the stars, they rebuilt. 1,000 minds speaking in one voice. Architect voice, layered, in chorus. The seal holds. But the fracture spreads. New vessels emerge. The cycle begins anew. And deep in the void between worlds, a new rift stirred, larger, stronger, pulsing with Kael's very energy. The balance between light and chaos teetered once again. Kael Draven, the first Rift warrior, was alive. But so was the enemy he thought he destroyed. He had returned, not as humanity's savior, but as its warning. Years later, children would tell stories of the man made of light. Of the warrior who vanished into the storm and came back when the stars began to fall again. Some say he guards the fractures that connect our world to theirs. Others say he became one of them, half human, half architect, forever trapped between two realities. But the truth? The truth is simpler. He never stopped fighting. And as the new rift forms above the horizon, the light of his armor flickers once more. A reminder that even in endless war, heroes are not born. They're forged.